Hey, this is Brian. Welcome back to The Disturbing Illusion, which is also a disturbing reality channel. I don't know about you, but every time I watch a Dave Pakman or a Young Turks or Kyle Kulinski or Brian Tyler Cohen, I feel like I'm watching a Saturday night live skit because nothing they say can be taken seriously. And honestly, when I watch them, I'm laughing out loud. I was watching these two over breakfast this morning because I was trying to figure out, hey, what the hell does the Democrat, progressive, leftist propagandist, what is the actual message and what are these people actually trying to say? Did they even claim to stand on any semblance of principle, or are they just there to promote the left versus right paradigm lie? So what you have is, and this particular thing, and this happened just in the last couple of days. This is 22 hours ago. It has 684,000 crazy views on it. This happened 22 hours ago. This is 103,000 views. So this happened around the same time frame. Within the same hour, you got Brian Tyler Cohen interviewing Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries and slants it in a positive light, while you have Kyle Kulinski, also for the progressive propagandist left, showing Hakeem Jeffries in a negative light. And I just want to pit these two against each other because this is a riot.
Are you guys ready to be pissed off? Because that's what's going to happen here. So Axios has a scoop that I want to share with you. Democrats are pissed at liberal groups Move On and Indivisible. Okay, so these are grassroots Democrat groups, and Hakeem Jeffries and Democratic leaders are annoyed at their own supporters, at their own constituents, at their own base. Here we go. Here's what they say.
And he's going to make the point. The reason they're annoyed at their own base is because people like Hakeem Jeffries are too busy bowing at the feet of corporate elitists trying to get corporate donor money. Just keep that in mind before we go over to the Brian Tyler Cohen video.
A closed-door meeting for Democrats this week included a gripe fest directed at liberal grassroots organizations, sources tell Axios. Members of the Steering and Policy Committee, with House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries in the room, on Monday complained activist groups like Move On and Indivisible have facilitated thousands of phone calls to members' offices. Thousands of phone calls to members' offices. Quote, people are pissed, a senior House Democrat who was at the meeting said of lawmakers' reaction to the calls. The Democrat said Jeffries himself is very frustrated at the groups who are trying to stir up a more confrontational opposition to Trump. A Jeffries spokesperson noted to Axios that their office regularly engages with dozens of stakeholder groups, including Move On and Indivisible, including as recently as Monday. Guys, let's talk about this. Hakeem Jeffries is seemingly more angry, more annoyed, more frustrated at his own base than he is at MAGA and Elon Musk doing an illegal coup and Donald Trump destroying our government.
This right here is the cannibalization you always hear about that the Democrats are glorying in on the Republican side, and it's happening within their own ranks. They're literally eating each other over the same representatives that this one right here promotes and this one right here condemns.
Okay, if that's how you feel, step down. Step down. You're no longer the Democratic leader. Get out of the way. Because in this moment, we need real fighters. We need flamethrowers.
He's basically saying Hakeem Jeffries isn't a real fighter and isn't a flamethrower, and goes further to say that he wants to be he's a corporate crybaby, and he wants corporate donor money to carry out corporate elitist plans and policies.
We need people who are going to fight, and stop at nothing, and rally the troops, and make all the right arguments, and get people ready, get people in the streets, get people active, do court cases, lead. So, guys,
get people in the streets, as though the Zio International Banking Cartel cares about you going out in the streets and holding your little pathetic signs.
Understand, we just covered the story. Remember what Hakeem Jeffries did just a few days ago? What'd he do? He went to Silicon Valley donors and started begging them to continue supporting Democrats.
Oh.
He was like, I know Andreessen and Musk and Zuckerberg and all these people have gone right wing, but historically you guys have been Democrat, and so you guys should please keep donating to us, and we'll make sure to make you happy. So look at who his real constituent is.
So what he's saying is Hakeem Jeffries is prostituting himself at the feet of Silicon Valley corporate oligarchs.
Right? This is the devastating point. Look at who he
used to promote Hakeem Jeffries. Now he's turning on Hakeem Jeffries. Let me ask you Democrats something. What do you expect out of people who are for power and wealth transfers? You've got people being socialists, which is a wealth transfer, transferring wealth from the working American people to the people who don't work. That is abject. That is clearly, objectively extortion at the barrel of a government gun. But they want they want the social safety net to be funded by tax cattle dollars. They want corporate elitists to be taxed out the wazoo. But then what's going to happen if you do that? You tax a whole bunch of corporate elitists. They're going to be, you know what? We got to cushion ourselves some way. We got to expand our margins some way. So we're going to pass that down to our consumers, the people who are buying our products and services. We're going to jack up the prices. It's the same with, see, these people are highly critical, and rightly so, of Donald Trump and all the tariffs. Well, you start taxing a bunch of corporate elitists, they're going to pass down that taxation onto the rest of us through the iPhones that we buy, through the toilet paper that we buy, and all the things that we purchase that come from corporations. These people they can't help but be hypocritically inconsistent.
Actually responsive to multimillionaires and billionaires in Silicon Valley who just fucking went mask off, full fascist, tech feudalist authoritarian. He goes down on his knees begging for them. But then when his own grassroots supporters.
So he's calling, I just want to make it clear. Hakeem Jeffries is a corporate beggar. He's a beggar for corporate donor money, which he is against.
Say, hey man, what are you doing to fight back? Let's fight back. How dare you? Shut up. I don't care what you think. I don't want to adjust course. I do what I want to do. You're frustrating me. You're annoying me. You're angering me. So who are you there to represent, Hakeem Jeffries? You don't need to answer because your actions speak louder than your words. Your actions are the multimillionaires and the billionaires and the Silicon Valley donors. I went to go mend fences with them or try to do it because I want their money. Meanwhile, you haven't said shit to the Arab Americans and Muslim Americans across this country who sat out the election. You haven't said shit to people in Dearborn, Michigan. You haven't said shit to the young people who used to make up your base that they felt abandoned by you and now we're pissed off. You haven't said shit to them. You are wagging your finger at your strongest supporters whose job is to care about the issues and get you to take action. Oh my God, bro. Quote, there were a lot of people who were like, we've got to stop the groups from doing this. People are concerned that they're saying we're not doing enough, but we're not in the majority. Said, oh my God. Have you ever in your life heard a Republican say some shit like that? Ever? Answer, no. No Republican has ever said anything like that. When they're in the minority, they're like, bitch, I don't care. I'm going to act like I'm in the majority. I'm going to fucking puff my chest out and put my swagger on and go on all these news outlets and shit on the other side relentlessly and make my arguments and march in the streets and get my people to make phone calls to their representatives and get active in the courts. They do anything and everything they can with whatever amount of power they have. What the fuck is wrong with you people? It really looks...
Expect Kyle Kulinski to do a 180 on Hakeem Jeffries in the very near future.
Like the Democrats,
especially after they get wind of the video that I'm making right here, pitting Kyle Kulinski against Brian Tyler Cohen, because this is diametric opposition, guys. You can't minimize this stuff. When somebody else is heralding and calling Hakeem Jeffries heroic and then putting him up on a pedestal as somebody who's going to fight back against MAGA corruption, and then you got this guy right here who's saying he just wants to hop up in the lap of corporate elitists and be stroked and be given money so that he can represent the corporations and not the people. This is diametric opposition. This means that Kyle Kulinski and Crystal Ball have to be against Brian Tyler Cohen. If they say they're not, then they don't even mean what they say.
The Washington Generals, like you are the paid losers. Like it's all choreographed and your job is to be the...
we got to go back. Listen to this.
They do anything and everything they can with whatever amount of power they have. What the fuck is wrong with you people? It really looks like the Democrats are the Washington Generals. Like you are the paid losers. Like it's all choreographed and your job is to be the weakling.
That's true. That's exactly what it is, Kyle. So why are you constantly using your platform to build up the Democrats? He's going to say positive things about AOC and Rashida Tlaib and all these other people on the Democrat side that he likes. But it's all the same. He'll even go so far as to say 95% of the Democrats are owned. Hey, how about 100% of all of Congress is owned? Period. So what game are you playing, Kyle? What game are you playing, Brian? If you guys would get together with what's true and what's noble and what's right and actually stand on principle, maybe you could use your platforms for doing something good instead of engaging in this WWE dog and pony show under the Washington's District of Criminals Big Top.
That's what, and also, okay, oh, you're pissed off about the calls? All right, ready for this? I'm recommending every single person in my audience to pick up your phone and call your Democratic representative.
Oh, God.
I want to triple the amount of calls. I want to quadruple
Why?
the amount of calls. I want to quadruple the amount of calls to these people because they're whining and they're bitching and they're moaning when the reality is we are trying to help you, we are trying to save you, and we are trying to save the country by saying, for the love of God, stop laying in a chalk outline of yourself on the ground. Fucking fight. Act like this matters.
Stop laying in a chalk outline of yourself on the ground. That's actually a pretty good way to put that. That's exactly what Kyle and Brian and Dave Packman and Midas Touch and Adam Mockler and all the other people are doing. They're laying in a chalk line, a self-imposed chalk outline of themselves on the ground as they push for Democrat progressivism, while the other people are laying in their own chalk line on Team MAGA and pushing conservatism. And in the background, the bankers are rubbing their hands, looking around going, I can't believe the propaganda is still working after all this time. Holy cow. No bother on changing the recipe. It still works. Same as it did since 1913.
Because it does. Act like there's a coup going on because there is. Quadruple the amount of phone calls that they get. Everybody listening to this right now, pick up your phone, call your Democratic representative, and tell them, we want you to resist Trump. We want you to fight back against Trump. We want you to stop Elon Musk's coup. We want you to do lawsuits. We want you to organize and do protests in the streets. We also want you to stand for something real that can get people back on our side. Namely, the billionaires are the problem. The robber barons are the problem. They have too much money. They have too much power. Corporations give too many donations to politicians. We need small dollar donations from regular people. And then
the billionaires are the problem. The robber barons are the problem. But how did they become billionaires and robber barons? They became billionaires and robber barons through the Republicans, through the Democrats, through the House, through the Senate, through Congress. The very systems that you continue to push. And if you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, you show yourself to be one who is insane.
you represent the people. Higher minimum wage, PRO-ACT so people have a right to be in a union, universal health care, end the wars and Trump's rampant warmongering imperialism. Stand for something.
The only way you do that is you remove their power. You remove their funding. How do you remove their power and their funding? You call BS on the IRS, on the income tax. Call BS on all of it and refuse to cooperate or play their game. But these guys aren't there. That's not what they're talking about. They're saying that you should participate in the game. They're saying you should become the pawn on the chessboard. Get out in the streets, hold a sign, call your senator, call your congressman.
Something. Some Democrats see the callers as barking up the wrong tree. Oh my God. Given their limited power as the minority party in Congress, quote, it's been a constant theme of us saying, please call the Republicans. I'm gonna lose it. I reject and resent the implication that congressional Democrats are simply standing by passively. Oh my God. They quoted Richie Torres. Oh my God. Now are you seeing the problem? Look, there are some Democrats who are real fighters, who are stepping up to the plate for the moment. There are. AOC, Bernie Sanders are just two examples. Raskin's been doing a good job. Jasmine Crockett has been doing a good job fighting back against the Republicans. There are examples. Even Newsom in California
fighting back against the Republicans. But guess who they're not fighting back against, Kyle? They're not fighting back against the Federal Reserve, the Zio International Banking Cartel, AIPAC. You know AIPAC is bad. You've said that AIPAC is evil. It's gotten so obvious that even Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks is calling AIPAC evil and getting all upset about it, and rightly so. You know what's going on. You know it's a dog and pony show. You know it's a freaking puppet show. A street puppet show that all the kids enjoy, but all the adults know what's really going on here. But you don't even act like you're an adult in the room. So you got this guy right here saying how bad Hakeem Jeffries is and how on the hook he is for the corporate elitists and how much he wants that corporate donor money. And then over here, you've got Brian Tyler Cohen, who's interviewing Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries and spinning him in a positive light.
I'm joined now by Leader Jeffries. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Great to see you.
Leader Jeffries, corporate prostitute. Leader Jeffries, per Kyle Kulinski from Secular Talk.
So we are in the midst now where more and more Republicans are agitating to ignore court orders as they relate to pushing back against the
I've got this set at 1.5 just so we can get through some of this. I'm not going to play all of it, but I do want to show you how the light is favorable on Hakeem Jeffries coming from technician Brian Tyler Cohen.
As this impending constitutional crisis comes more into view, what's your level of worry about what we're looking at?
Constant, like they don't care about constitutional crisis is we have hundreds, if not thousands of gun laws in this country that come against the Second Amendment. There's a constitutional crisis. Constitutional crisis, we have this amendment called the 16th Amendment that completely violates the spirit of the Declaration of Independence, that people have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the income tax completely cuts in. A constitutional crisis is a Zio International banking cartel owning the issuance and value of the currency, which is a representative of your time and laboring energies. That's a true constitutional crisis, not the fact that Donald Trump is in the White House and Doge is operating all the systems.
Well, this is a moment where there are far-right extremists who are trying to effectively end America as we know it.
How about banker extremists? Why don't you ever talk about that, Hakeem?
And one of the most important parts of America is the adherence to the rule of law. And that in this country, nobody is above the law. And yet we see Republicans.
Except for congressmen and senators. Remember, for 8 years, we had a guy as a Speaker of the House who a federal judge said is a serial child molester. Guess what his name was? Do some homework on it. Dennis Hastert. He was the Speaker of the House, which means he was second in line for the president. If the president went down, it's the vice president and the Speaker of the House. This serial child predator could have become, let me just say, known serial child predator, could have become the president of the United States sitting behind the desk resolute at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's how high up the chain it goes. And those are only the people that we know. This guy's in on it. He's part of this corrupt system.
Threatening to defy the federal courts. That is something that everyone should be troubled by. It's one of the reasons why we just launched a rapid response task force and litigation working group that will be led by Congressman Joe Neguse as well as Congressman Jamie Raskin to make sure that we are pushing back aggressively from a litigation standpoint and anticipating.
This guy's watched way too many Barack Obama films. It's almost like he's taken on the spirit of Barack Obama and how he talks and the hand movements. This guy's 100% a politician.
The possibility of noncompliance.
Do you anticipate that they will ignore court orders?
We got a briefing from Representative Jamie Raskin earlier this morning, and he indicated that so far the federal courts are holding, and the administration has not aggressively moved in that direction, notwithstanding some of the rhetoric that we've heard that's irresponsible from people like the vice president.
What do you say to these Republicans who for so long have beat their chests about being the party of law and order, who are now coming out and saying, you know what, if some of these court orders don't comport with our political agenda, screw it?
Truth be told, Republicans...
That is hypocrisy. That is hypocrisy on the side of the right. That doesn't make the left any less hypocritical.
...have become the party of lawlessness and disorder. They're phony when it comes to the notion that they respect the rule of law.
Just imagine the hubris of a politician calling anybody else phony.
Reasons why we know that to be the case is that in the aftermath of the irresponsible pardoning of violent felons who brutally beat police officers and were then released into the community, many of my Republican colleagues embraced it. They're phony when it comes to pretending to be the party of law and order.
We've seen as Trump has kind of heaped more and more influence onto Elon Musk, this lack of adherence to any facts. I mean, this notion, the lie that $50 million worth of condoms were being sent to Gaza when that wasn't the truth, and yet these people who have these massive platforms will say them anyway, knowing that, okay, if anything is wrong, we can just...
Yeah, it wasn't true that $50 million went to Gaza to supply them with condoms. You know what was true, though, and Brian Tyler Cohen won't talk about this, and this is even outlined in factcheck.org. It was $60.8 million that went to other places. Who cares who got it? Who cares what it was? Number one, we can't afford it. And number two, the check was written. $60.8 million, not $50 million. They won't talk about that.
Go back afterwards and try and fix it. But by that point, the toothpaste is already out of the tube, right? That ship has already sailed. And so what do you say to these Republicans then, like Elon Musk, who are so quick to perpetuate these lies with so little willingness to actually adhere to the truth about them?
Flooding the zone with outrage and with lies is an intentional strategy that the extreme MAGA Republicans and the far-right extremists have adopted.
Flooding the zone with outrage and lies is what politicians do, and it is what politicians are all about. So I just wanted to show you that Brian Tyler Cohen, pro Hakeem Jeffries, and Kyle Kulinski from Secular Talk, both Democratic progressive propagandists on either side of the fence, which shows division in their own party, which shows somebody's being a hypocrite here, or both of them are being hypocrites. But you can't be playing for Team America if you're inconsistent in your own thinking, in your own ideology, and you display yourself as a hypocrite. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon. We're trying to grow this channel out to at least 20,000 subscribers. We're close to 15 or 16, but I appreciate your help. Like this video, share this video, grab a shirt, and I'll see you in the next video.